Well, welcome back everyone to another episode of my flipping series where I've set probably my most insane goal to date of acquiring the most expensive gear that you can equip in your equipment slots. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you look at some of the hyper rare items like the Third Age pickaxe, which is the single most expensive item in the game, the Elysian, Third Age Druidic top and bottom, I mean this stuff is really expensive, and we're going to acquire all of it simply by flipping items back and forth at the Grand Exchange. Now, in the last episode, we ended off at around 2.5 bill cash and about 250 mil worth of equipable items. Now, that sounds like a lot of money, but the gear we have left is hyper expensive. I've also even recently received a price check on the Third Age pickaxe. So expensive it doesn't even sell on the Grand Exchange, and apparently it's worth around 4 bill right now, which is definitely more than I expected. Obviously I can't verify that, but it does sound within the realm of possible. So if it's true, then the total amount of money we're going to need to complete this series is 8.5 bill. Now, although most of the remaining gear that I can buy is pretty expensive, we're going to make a purchase today. But firstly, we need to make some money to be able to afford it. Now, one thing I always try to remind myself, especially when I'm doing kind of more daily flipping, is don't try to get too fancy with things. If something's working, try it again. I don't need to constantly be like dipping and diving between a ton of different items. So an item like the scythe, even though I've invested probably half of my money into it in the last 24 hours, it keeps working, so I'm just going to keep repeating it until I either hit the buying limit or it stops being profitable. So today is December 8th, and we're starting off with a 17.5 mil daily profit in just about 24 hours. It's still hard to get over how low my return on investment is. My ROI is 0.16%. I paid over 100 mil in taxes to make 17 mil profit. Not complaining, just making an observation. Also, our hourly profit, 740k per hour over the 24-hour period, which of course doesn't sound that good, but probably only an hour of that was actually logged in, so 17 mil for one active hour, we will take that. Okay, we have one new item here that I haven't really experimented with that much, and that's the Blade of Saldor. This item is attached to the price of the Bow of Ferdinand, which is by far the much more used sister item to this, but their price is tied. But the Blade of Saldor has one main benefit, and that's that the margin can be a lot higher on it. For example, after taxes, I was able to get a 2.5 mil margin, which is incredibly good for a 100 mil item. Definitely doesn't buy and sell very quickly, but you know, if we're able to repeat that a couple times a day, that is going to greatly increase our daily profit. Torva remains probably one of my most flipped items. I mean, we'll check at the end of December maybe and look back over the entire month, but I'm anticipating Torva is going to be up there. Okay, so December 9th is complete as far as my flipping for the day. Another 24-hour period, only about 15 mils, so that was a little bit of a weak day. Mostly came down to the fact that I just wasn't playing as much, probably. Some days aren't going to be quite as good as others, but I am excited about the Blade of Saldor. Maybe we can try to leverage that into a more profitable week. Okay, this is definitely looking a lot more promising. We have a couple really profitable single item flips here. The Zerite crossbow, I sold it for 320 mil after taxes, and we bought them for 315 mil, so almost a 5 mil profit on a single Zerite crossbow. This item has been trending upwards a lot. Maybe the whole market is, and that's why we're getting all these good offers, but not complaining. On top of that, another item I haven't flipped that much of is the Missouri armor set, which we've also managed to lock in a pretty solid margin of 2 mil on it. And this item actually surprisingly buys and sells a lot. And we've also managed to continue to flip the Blade of Saldor for around a 2 mil profit, more or less, which is also incredibly good as well. Well, thanks to a bit of luck on 3 Zerite crossbows, I was able to get a 6 mil profit after taxes, so that's quite good. We managed to get a single flip on the Missouri body for 3 mil, kind of surprising. A 1.8 mil margin on the Missouri armor set, like I was saying, all adding up to a solid 19 mil daily profit, which is actually a little bit lower than I expected considering we had a very strong start, but still a pretty solid day. So the last 20 hours or so has kind of all been about a single item, and that has been the Torva plate legs. You can see how much money we've been making on it. Here we flipped 2 of them at once, buying them both for 692 mil and selling them for nearly 699 mil. So around a 5 mil profit on 2 of them, or 2.5 mil each. Really good. So one thing that's kind of interesting, if we have a look at the stats here, here's the last 2 days we made about 32 mil. And our return on investment is actually significantly higher than it has been. A 0.43% ROI is actually pretty high, considering the cost of most of the items I'm flipping nowadays. So although we didn't invest as much money, our return on investment was very high on items like the Torva plate legs, where we made 9 mil. We flipped some sides for around 3.5 mil profit, and a bunch of other things as well, making it a pretty efficient 2 days. Now, for some reason, the Torva plate legs has given us our best margin of 2 mil, or even up to 3 mil on average after taxes, which is kind of crazy. Here's an example flip right here. We bought it for 346.7 mil and sold it for 348.9 mil, so a 2.2 mil profit right there. You can see in the last day we made 22 mil, and the majority of that is from the Torva plate legs. We only flipped 3 of them, but we made 9 mil in profit, which is crazy. I wish I'd been able to do like the full buy-in limit, because that would have added up to like a 24 mil profit just on that item, but maybe next time. A really solid day though. We also got like 4 mil on the Elysians. I only actually made 20 flips in the last 24 hours, but each one was worth a mil or more, so it really does add up. Okay, so today is the 14th of December, and I just managed to beat our previous day by a couple mil. On the 14th, I made 23.5 mil, and I was mainly off the back of pretty similar items, and at the pace we're going, I think we're on track to make 300, maybe even 400 mil this month, which would be one of my best months yet. So for most of December, I've been able to keep a pretty solid streak of flipping going, but today is December 19th, and that's probably where it's going to end for a little while, as I'm going to be going up to visit family pretty soon, and I'm not going to be doing too much flipping over Christmas, but we'll see, I guess. With that said though, not a bad day to leave us off on. After claiming everything, we're up to 2,650 mil cash, which is a pretty solid improvement. And we finished off with a 24.1 mil daily profit, which is surprisingly good. I mean, we didn't get any standout items, but we also flipped a lot more things than normal. We got 30 flips done in the last day or day and a half-ish. Now, for the rest of December, I don't expect we're gonna get too many more flips done, but we'll see. I've been keeping track of all of our daily profits on a calendar though, and I'm really excited to update it once we get to the end of the month. So I hope you all have a good break as well, and I will see you probably somewhere around the 27th or 28th. Welcome back everyone to the world of the future, where it's it's only a week later, not that big a deal, but for all intents and purposes, December is done with. From the 20th to the 28th, I didn't really do any flipping, and while we did get a bit of flipping done on the 29th and 30th, the daily profits weren't anything really to write home about. We got a 17 mil daily profit, mostly off the back of the Inquisitor's armor set, and another 17 mil profit off of a variety of different items. But what I'm most excited about is we are done with December, which means we can look at our daily profit calendar for the month. So this is what the month of December has looked like. From the 1st to the 19th, we only missed 5 days of flipping, which is pretty good for me. That was actually quite consistent. Now, one thing you'll note is pretty much every day we ended up making a fairly similar amount of money, and that's partially because I was kind of in autopilot mode, just doing items that I was comfortable with and knew would work. But that's also just a bit more reflective of the style of flipping I'm doing. It's more consistent, it's more guaranteed, and it really does add up over time. Our best day of flipping actually ended up being December 3rd, but there's quite a few other close days as well. Now, throughout the 31 days of December, I flipped on 16 days, so just a little bit over half, and in total we profited 299.5 mil, so pretty much 300 mil for the month of December. So I think this month highlights one thing really well. This is kind of what you could expect to make with not a lot of variation, no huge wins, but no huge losses either. 300 mil profit, which I think is pretty damn good. Well, that is a great start to 2023, holy. I'm not sure exactly what happened here, but this is by far my best day of flipping yet, or at least in this style anyway. I managed to make 31 mil in only 18 hours, so not even a full day. Our hourly profit was 1.8 mil an hour, where normally it's like 700, 800K. If we kept going for the full 24 hours, we would have hit around 40 mil, which is roughly double what I would normally make. So how exactly did this happen? Not really sure. I mean, we had a couple really solid flips, but nothing super extraordinary. Well, I managed to flip 10 sides, which is quite a lot, for 7 mil profit. We got an uncommon margin on the Ancient God Sword as well, like 6.5 mil profit there, like 6 or 7 mil profit on Missouri pieces. Just a lot of different things here, which added up to a lot of profit. Now, one thing I haven't done yet is have a look at my stats for the last month. Since the last video, here is what my flipping tracker looks like. Our total profit is 344 mil, which is actually pretty accurate after having checked it. Our return on investment, 0.22%, so still incredibly low. But that really is just a reflection of the items I'm doing. We flipped 446 items, and we paid 1.5 bill in taxes. Oh my god. Now, as far as the individual item, by a pretty significant margin, the best item last month was the Torva plate legs, which we flipped over 60 of them. We also did 45 Elysian spirit shields, 42 Missouri chaps, 23 size, 22 Missouri armor sets, more Torva pieces in Missouri. We did ancestral robe sets, Zarek crossbows, mostly just the items that I've already practiced with a fair bit, but you can really see how it adds up over time. Okay, so that brings us to January 3rd. After claiming everything, we are now at 2.8 bill, more or less, which is straight up the most amount of cash I've ever had in one place before. Plus, we have over 250 mil worth of items that we purchased, so we're over a 3 bill cash stack now, more or less, which is incredibly exciting, but I think it's about time we buy a new item, and there's a couple of options here, but realistically there's only actually one. We're going to be buying the Elysian Spirit Shield. It's about a 600 mil item right now, but even after buying it, we'll be left with a bit over max cash, so we still have a ton of money to work with. Well, the benefit of the Elysian is I can equip it right now, and I don't have to grind out any stats for it. And it costs under a bill, so that's also a pretty big plus for it. So we put an offer in for one at 600 mil, and we'll just wait and be patient, save ourselves a couple mil. There it is, guys. The Ellie purchased at 601 mil. Obviously, it's an expensive item, but it is still a lot cheaper than it has been in the past, so I'm not feeling too bad at a 600 mil Ellie. So let's go ahead and equip it and lock in our 5th item. Also looking pretty damn snazzy. So anyway, guys, that is going to be it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. My hopes are high for January. We started off strong, and hopefully we can beat this month, but we'll have to wait and see. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next episode. Now, quickly before I go here, I just want to thank all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you so much to Alejandra, Prophet of the Boosh, Mitch Reinders, The Hybrid, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed at the Dragon tier. Also, a giant thank you to YoYoSup89 and NDM0001 for subscribing at the Runite tier. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.